Hi guys, I'm not sure why I even ended up posting this video because it's sort of incomplete. I test drove the vehicle beforehand and it was just falling flat on its face. There was no power, it was gutless. I think it was an automatic. That's irrelevant at this point. The intake airbox on this Mark III, on this A3 Golf Jetta, whatever, whenever you get an exhaust restriction, you get this droning sound through the airbox, through the plastic air filter box, and it would be like a whoa. Have fun, Leon, with that one. Leon and I played tricks on each other using sound clips from each other's videos. Anyways, so right during the test drive, customer actually said that it was just a constant misfire on cylinder 4, but I knew right away that it wasn't a misfire on just one cylinder. Granted, yes, during the once the engine is loaded and you hear that wah, and you know, a constant bog of power, eventually it did get to the point where it seemed like it was running on 3 cylinders. That's okay. So in a way, that yes, he's right. But when you get a smooth bogging down of or lack of power, and an intake droning the way that one did, it's a restricted exhaust that's causing it. And that was my first gut feeling that I had when I drove it around the block. And then I obviously did some checking just in case, because you can have you could have a MAF problem, you know, especially when you open up the throttle, you get all that air rushing, so you can get similar droning with a bad MAF or other causes. You know, if there's not enough fuel. I've had before where a bad ignition wire caused bad spark, and it would actually cause similar smooth power loss. Again, so you can't always just rely on one thing. You do have to do your due diligence and check stuff. Sorry, I'm rambling. This is more talking that I need to do. So anyways, my point being is that I did not catch that sound on camera because I didn't wear my glasses during the test drive. So obviously the video picks up from me checking it further after I took the oxygen sensor out. The O2 sensor was one of the first things. Well, no, it wasn't the first thing I did. I obviously did some under hood inspection just to make sure that that the customer didn't you know, mix something up, ignition wires or whatever. I made sure MAF sensor connector was good and that it was putting out a signal. But then I took out the exhaust, the O2 sensor, and that's when I started to record. So I apologize. Sorry about that. Maybe next one. And I did try to get it to act up again afterwards because the customer didn't want to go with the catalytic converter, so we put the O2 back in. I'm ruining the whole video for you guys. Customer brought in the car for power complaint. Says number 4 is misfiring all the time. Already replaced the coil, spark plugs, wires. There's the coil, distributor cap, spark plug wires. When I drove it, it's just gutless as hell. It's smooth gutless. There is a point when it will seem like it's misfiring on one cylinder. But I had my suspicion with the exhaust. But obviously I checked the airflow meter. Signal, it varies. O2 sensor has a fault code, actually 3 fault codes. Misfire on cylinder 4, O2 sensor, bank 1, sensor 1, slow to signal too low. Sorry, I don't have my reading glasses on. So anyways, from past experience, when you hear the intake, when you accelerate, you hear this droning sound coming from the intake, and that's usually a sign of a plugged exhaust. So I took out the front I took out the front O2 sensor. And let's see what power is like now. Obviously a little bit noisy because of the open exhaust. So now that the engine can breathe, it has power, and it's smooth power, and you can hear the exhaust, the catalytic converter rattle actually. So here's the catalytic converter. Still looks like a stock one because it's nice and big, but knocking on it, you can hear some stuff inside. So most likely it's broken loose, and it's sitting against the back here. and that's causing a restriction in exhaust flow. If he's lucky, none of the pieces went into the exhaust, because if you replace just this and the pieces are still in the exhaust, you can still have power issues. So I figured I'd give you guys a video of what it runs like when the catalytic converter is plugged, or the exhaust I should say. So you can see it idles fairly nicely still, but when you accelerate, now it's going because it's clear. It wants to cut out. It eventually gets to the point where you can hold the throttle open and it just won't pick up anymore, and that's because the exhaust is restricted. I'll take it for a run. Customer doesn't want to get the catalytic converter replaced, or the exhaust. So I put the O2 back in. I'll take it for a run. If I can get it to act up again, I'll let you see it.
Sorted.